the historical aspect in the sense of the Gandhiji's life is so well documented. See, it's not like playing Ghalib, where you can bring in whatever you feel, because no one saw Ghalib. There's perhaps one photograph of him which exists. The others are portraits, in each of which he looks different, like most historical characters in the history books you find, So I could bring in a lot of myself into Ghalib, but with Gandhiji, I had to make sure that none of, and this was one of the earliest and most significant pieces of guidance given to me by Feroz, was that none of your recognizable acting habits should be visible in this part. And I realized that that was the challenge I had to face and overcome. Even if it meant being completely still and not doing anything, because my intention was never to do, as I said, an imitation of Gandhiji. If I could manage to roughly resemble him and manage to communicate a sense of truth and a conviction in what he's saying, I thought the battle would be won. If I could manage to restrain myself from my own acting reflexes, so that those things about my acting which are highly recognizable are not there, that is the first step. That was the first step towards getting there. And I still don't know whether, that urge to show myself will overcome me in the middle of the performance, but I suspect it won't. But that is a very daunting task, because you have to literally tie yourself hand and foot. Otherwise, you find yourself not only behaving and gesturing and speaking the way you always did, but you find your emotional responses are similar, and they're yours, and they're recognizable. I had to hold all that back and attempt to portray, what shall I call it, a pencil sketch of Gandhiji rather than a detailed painting. A rough pencil sketch, where I will resemble him roughly, and then the rest of it hopefully will be communicated through the words. And hopefully my own bad acting habits will not interfere in those words.
Does the rough pencil sketch mean that you're going to go bald?
I will appear bald. No, because of a practical problem. I had no problem about going bald, but there was a practical problem, because the character has to change from old age into a young age in a very short time. So when you see the play, you'll understand what I mean.
How would you describe the magic of the theatre? Mr. Feroz can't call it an actor's medium. How would you describe it in your words?
The magic of the theatre, to my mind, is not creating illusions on the stage the way cinema can. Not doing that. And more you find a lot of theatre aspiring to be cinema. You'll find titles appearing on the stage before the play begins. You'll find earthquakes and floods and helicopters landing on the stage and car chases on stage and so on. And I just do not agree with that kind of theatre at all. I don't think, and this is not an original thought, but I agree with the belief that that theatre can never create the same illusion that cinema can. So why on earth does it try to be like a film? Because it can never ever do that, no matter how advanced your technical, your setting and everything may be, but you can never ever create the same illusion, so why try? To me, the magic of theatre is not one huge set disappearing and another huge set appearing within seconds. That is not the magic of theatre. To me, the magic of theatre is the live human being up there, that solitary person who is vibrating and who is getting across to you, who's making contact with you in the audience. And the fact that in theatre you can make contact with each individual person sitting over there, and you have to make contact with them as a mass and also individually, where you do look into the audience's eyes when you perform and try to get across. And that getting across, to me, is the greatest magic. Oh, I see what you mean. No, I did not. By yourself with Gandhi or Mother Teresa or people like that. It's not easy. It's much easier to identify with yourself being Ghalib or being, some other dissolute character in history. But it's not easy to believe that you're Gandhi because you realize how far away you are from it, and you don't want to remind yourself of that. So I don't really, I don't think that I know the true path and I am walking on it, and everyone should follow what I say. No, the answer to your question is no. About 12 kilos of extra weight and a whole lot of information in my head which I do not know what to do with now. And it was a big disappointment. It was a very big disappointment because I think that's a great part to play. I think he's a very, very interesting character.
Quite clearly things to do with.
And that's why you come back and then you go to film. Would there come a time when you join the family and
Give up movies. No, frankly, it would be a very difficult choice to make if I were forced at gunpoint to make this choice. It would be a very difficult choice to make because I really do love acting in films too. Basically, I just love the business of acting. And theatre is stimulating in its own way, and cinema is stimulating in its own way.